Good morning. British soldier Lee Rigby, whose job was playing drums in the British military, was walking down the street one day in England when he was suddenly attacked by men with knives and a meat cleaver. Just a few short minutes later, he lay on the ground, bleeding out and dead. Several days later, a very similar incident happened in France. This soldier survived the initial attack. How do you keep this kind of thing from happening to you? Let me introduce you to Krav Maga. What is Krav Maga? What are the origins of Krav Maga? First, Krav Maga is Hebrew for touch fight or contact fighting. It's a combination of boxing, Muay Thai, Wing Chun, Jiu-Jitsu, and a lot of street fighting. It was developed by a man named Emil Lichtenstein. He was a Hungarian-Israeli who moved or immigrated to Israel in the early 1940s. There he began to train a group of people that we would later know to be the IDF. Before Israel became Israel, it was a British colony, and the British did not allow the Israelis to have firearms. So they instead conducted combat with sticks, knives, anything that wasn't a firearm. In 1946, Israel became a state, as we all know, and this group of people that Emmy taught then became the first group of the IDF. The mentality of Krav Maga is to rapidly end the fight as fast as possible, and at the same time deal with multiple attackers. In order to deal efficiently with several attackers, several things are very important to have and understand, and you will learn them in a Krav Maga dojo. First of all, I teach my people cardio and strength, deliberate physical fitness. Fight like you train, train like you fight. Something that a lot of military people already know. I teach you snapshots. A small picture at a time, pieces, and it all gets put together in your own mind to create your own program, if you will. Along the way, you do suffer bumps and bruises. But it's also quite rewarding. I teach you how to defend against guns, and against knives, against sticks, and against many, many people attacking you at once. Something else you're going to learn is situational awareness. The sooner you recognize you're about to be attacked or about to become in a physical altercation, the sooner you are mentally prepared and you can take actions that would defend yourself against these attacks. Also, the psychology and the legal aspect are covered. If you break somebody in half and they can't work for 6 months, who's going to pay for their living expenses? You could be legally responsible. And also the psychology part. What does it do to you mentally because you just broke someone in half with your bare hands? From snapshots to psychology, there are also many benefits from learning Krav Maga. I see violence being the final frontier. If you say no and they say yes and you can't agree verbally, it does come to physical violence. And after you've learned Krav Maga, you're not necessarily afraid anymore of the violence. It's also tailored to you. If you learn 1,000 snapshots from me, maybe only 100 work for you, because you're tall, maybe you're short, maybe you're fast, maybe you're slow. You'll pick out the ones that work for you the best, and those are the ones that you use. Krav Maga is also very rewarding. It gives you an increased confidence, at least it did for me, in all parts of my life, not just in a conflict. Again, we covered physical fitness. And you also won't be afraid to defend your family or your friends if it comes to it. From a horror story to how to avoid being a statistic, we briefly discussed the origins of Krav Maga, and we talked about the need of Krav Maga. I discussed briefly physical fitness and the bumps and the bruises that you may incur along the way. I briefly talked about psychology and the rewards of learning Krav Maga. I hope that I sparked your interest, and I hope you at least have a look into it. Thanks for watching.